and welcome to another episode. My name is Leah Courtney and I'm a homeschool mom and blogger at aswewalkalongtheroad.com. And this episode is part of a series called Homeschooling Your First Year and Beyond. This is a collection of episodes all about practical advice and encouragement for new or newer homeschool mamas. So if you haven't seen all of the other episodes in the series, I encourage you to look for those, because if you are newer to homeschooling, or if this is your first year homeschooling, or if you're thinking about homeschooling, these are great videos for you to get some great information and encouragement from. In today's episode, we're going to talk about homeschooling when you have a low budget. And this is not an uncommon problem, because if you think about it, if you send your kids to a traditional public school, yes, there are some expenses that you are paying, but for the most part, their education is free. When you make the decision to homeschool, you're often choosing to live on one income, and now you have to provide curriculum for your kids. So some homeschool parents or prospective homeschool parents sort of go into a panic at this. And the common response is, oh, well, I can't homeschool because I don't have enough money. So I'm going to give you some tips today about why that doesn't have to be true. And the first thing I would tell you is to especially look for free homeschool materials, because they are out there. There are tons of them. I have a post called "Can I Really Homeschool for Free?" and I'm going to link it here in the description of the video, and you can go find that post, because in that post you're going to find out lots of information about homeschooling for free. I could do a whole episode on that, but I'm kind of combining this with some other low budget ideas. But make sure you check out that post, and there's a curriculum planner that is free linked in that post as well. So yes, you can homeschool for free. It does take a little bit of planning. You can't just expect to open up one website and voila, there's everything. There are a few full curriculums that are free, but even those, from my own experience in trying a number of those, you're going to have to bring in some other outside sources probably. Some of them cover like all of your history, language, arts, but then you need to bring in math and any other electives. Some of them sort of cover everything, but by cover everything, that means that they're linking out to other sources as well. So it's going to take a little bit of prep on your part to get together all of these resources, but yes, you can absolutely homeschool for free. Even as you get up into the older classes, this gets a little bit harder once you get up into high school, things like that. But there are tons of free resources. Khan Academy is a great one as you're moving up into high school math. They have computer, they have math courses, they have some language arts courses. So again, yes, you can homeschool for free. Also on the blog, and I'll link to this in the caption, is a list of free homeschooling materials that I know of. And it's definitely not a complete list, but it's an ongoing list that I add to of free homeschool resources. So that would be my first answer to you. If you are trying to homeschool on a low budget and you're not sure what to do, yes, you can homeschool for free. Now, let's move beyond free materials, because sometimes there's a need to substitute. Maybe the free stuff isn't working out for your child. Maybe the free stuff doesn't include something important that you then need to include. Maybe the free stuff, you use it for a while and then everybody's getting kind of burned out and you need to change. So what do you do if you can't really homeschool totally for free? The first thing I would suggest is to look for used materials. Amazon sells used materials, eBay sells used materials. There are lots of different groups on Facebook where you can buy and sell used homeschool materials. So I would encourage you to look for used materials. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to make sure that you are trying to get materials that can be reused for multiple kids. Now, a caution here, well, two cautions. One is please make sure you are following the copyright on the material that you're using. So if you buy a workbook and it doesn't say that you can copy the pages for all of your family, don't copy the pages for all of your family because that's breaking the copyright. Some homeschool publishers will give a disclaimer copyright allowance at the beginning of the book that says you're free to copy it for anybody in your immediate family. That's great when you can find it, but don't do it if it doesn't specifically say, because that is a copyright violation and technically you're stealing that material. But there are non-consumable resources that you can use, that you can pass on from child to child. There are workbooks that maybe one child is not going to really have to do everything out of the workbook. So instead of having them write in the book, you're going to have them write some things down on paper. Those are good ways to kind of pass things on. But the other caution that I would give you is just because something worked well for one child doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be great for the next. So try to reuse the material, but just go into it knowing that there are some situations in which it's just not going to be feasible to use that again for another child. In that case, you might want to try to sell your curriculum on some of those sites that we talked about before and buy something different. The last thing that I would caution you about homeschooling on a budget is that you need to have a very specific list of what you need before you start buying anything. Because I can testify to the fact that if you just go into it thinking, okay, we need to buy curriculum for next year, and you start looking, you're going to get taken in by all the great curriculum, and there are some great ones out there. And you're going to want to buy this, and then you're going to buy that, and then before you know it, you've bought way too many resources, and you didn't really need all of this stuff. But because you didn't start with a plan and a list of what you needed, you got sucked into all of these rabbit trails and bought all this curricula. So again, make sure you go to the post that I'm linking, because that post has a free curriculum planner. You can use this planner to write down what you need for each child for the school year. And then under each category, so let's say your child is taking history, they're going to do a reading class, they're going to do a writing component, they're going to need a math component. So you're going to list all of these things out, all of the different curricula areas you need to cover. Then you're going to start researching curriculum, and when you find something, you're going to actually add it into this list, this spreadsheet that you're creating. That means that you can see what you've actually got. And then after you do that, then you can price it out at several different places. Is it cheaper to buy it from the publisher? Is it cheaper to buy it from Amazon? Maybe you found a used copy. So then you can price it out and figure out exactly how much you're going to need to spend before you start spending. And that's a big key. Make sure you have that plan before you start spending any money. So those are some tips. I hope that helps. If you have the idea that you cannot homeschool because you don't have enough money, I hope these ideas will help. Again, make sure you look at the 2 links that I'm going to leave in the caption here, because you can find a whole bunch of free homeschool resources as well as that free curriculum planner that I was talking about. And hopefully that'll help you as you get started planning your homeschool curriculum for next year. Thanks for joining me this week, and I'll be back next week with another episode.